and then some. This clamp started as a doujinshi circle. They're also huge JoJo nerds, in case anyone didn't know that. Which could explain why a lot of their things are very wacky. Pardon my language, I'm sorry.
We only get one, so
you only get one! Sorry. Anyways, so there's a lot that is completed, namely Rig Veda, Man of Many Faces, Tokyo Babylon, Clamp School Detectives, Clamp School Defenders, Clamp School Paranormal Investigators, Snow Goddess Tales, Magic Knight Ray-Earth, Miyuki Chan of Wonderland, The One I Love, Cardcaptor Sakura, Witch, Angelic Lair, Suki Chobits, Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, Kawato, Pollock. And then there's ones that are unfinished, because what is Clamp without an unfinished series? Hey! So those are Clover, which technically has, Word of God has it, that there are actually 2 books left, and that actually need to be finished before we can count it as complete. Then of course there is the ever ongoing saga of X. Why can't we just put everyone out of their misery already? Come on.
Also sort of hinted that the reason they never finished X is because it's going to end up in a never-ending cycle.
Yeah.
It's something I'd drawn out of the magazine they were in, and they can't find something to replace it.
There's a lot of theories revolving around X and why it's not finished.
Supposedly the main reason it stopped was because at the time of its writing, a lot of natural disasters.
Yes, and every time they try to pick it back up again, something absolutely
And
awful
it
happened.
seemed to
And it's like, nope, I'm out.
And now it's not even 1999 far in the future anymore.
Yeah.
But like the events with Bai and Tsubasa kind of hints at, it kind of shows what they might have intended, but it ultimately looks like they're trying to hint that even though we didn't finish it, our new plan is to point out that this is a never-ending cycle of destruction that's just going to keep repeating itself with both sides changing members.
Sounds like One Piece.
I mean, and also not finished yet. Hello, welcome. Please take a seat and join us. I'm so glad you're here. So Gate 7, which is one of the newer ones, is currently on hold, like you do. And then there's the legal drug, which got rebooted as Drug and Drop,
Which
and
is
it's now on hold.
All with the hologram.
Like you do. Yes, and then there's Hologram, which is also on hold. Yay!
About a year and a half now.
And then the new Tsubasa World Chronicle, also on hold. And we have a new card captor coming soon! Yay! It's out! The first chapter's out! Yay!
Which will be on hold.
And then Clamp also does a lot of collaborations with other people. And technically, Clamp School Paranormal Investigators falls under this collaboration thing, even though they did do the illustrations and the script for it. Because the fun thing about Clamp School Paranormal Investigators is that it actually started as an RPG that they created, a little bit like Dungeons & Dragons, this board game that they created, and they play with their friends. And the characters in the story are who they play as in the game. So, fun little tidbit for you. And then there's also Blood Sea, which I'm still not really sure what the hell that's about. And then, of course, Code Geass they did the designs for. Because who else could come up with that horrible stuff?
I love noodles. Noodles are my favorite characters. We will all bow before His Holiness, the little bee noodle.
Okay, so that's what they've done. And so because I have too much time on my hands constantly, I like to read everything constantly. And so I've developed a theory, or not so much a theory as stringing things together, maybe that's a theory, that there are different universes that everything ties into, because it wouldn't be Clamp if things didn't tie into each other. And so, oh, I have some, I'm just snap again. I made sticky notes, the universes. So, the first one is our kind of end of the world, So we have Man of Many Faces, and then the 3 Clamp School ones, which all run concurrently, which is why you see all the characters from all of them and each other at the proper ages that they are. Because they're running at the same time, yay! And then that feeds into, of course, Tokyo Babylon. Tokyo Babylon. Big Sister Hagato is here to save the day. And then, of course, that leads into X. And in X, they end up at Clamp School. Spoilers. I'm sorry, there's going to be a lot of spoilers here. So yeah, they have Clamp School. So this is all one universe. Yay!
Yay.
Please stay. It's not going to stay.
I can hold it.
Hold it, Kabato.
You just put it on the wall. You put it on like the actual wall.
I could put it on the actual wall.
Or you can put it on hold.
And then, of course, the next one, we have our technological robot fetish, Angelic Layer and Chobits. I don't think there's much more explanation that needs to go into that other than it's robots. And then things get really confusing when we go to Holic and Tsubasa! Which, of course, there's Card Captor that feeds into that, then Wish, and Suki, and Kobato, and Legal Drug.
And eggs.
They're all
So yeah, they're all kind of one universe, and I have theories on that one. Like I wanted to do.
One universe of 1,000 universes.
And then of course there's the ones that are unassociated until proven otherwise. Just the rest of them. The rest of them. Anyways. So. Let me consult my notes for a moment. Where am I at?
You just finished the universes.
I did just finish the universes. That's...
You're at the part where you have prizes.
Did I put prizes in the description?
No.
I didn't put prizes in the description for the panel. Sorry. I don't have anything to give away. Okay, so we're going to talk about... Not my meeting alert. So, the really confusing Holic Tsubasa universe. And my notes on that, on how they actually exist within one universe in time. And not just because Tsubasa likes to throw them into where other characters are. Only let some of them have happy endings.
But they actually do exist concurrently, side by
Yes.
side of each other in the exact same universe.
So, my first point on that is, so in the new reboot of Drug and Drop, Watsuki sends her 2 very lovely little errand boys on an errand. And who do they meet on their errand? Of course, but Kohaku from Wish. So, naturally, those exist in the same timeline. You want to call it a timeline? We're calling it a timeline.
Reversal point.
And then, of course, Wish and Kobato, they have the adorable little bunny messengers from heaven. And they sing together. And they sing together. Kobato gets to sing with Kohaku, and it's adorable. And they're in the same timeline. And then, of course, our lovely little Suki appears in Kobato. And it was also created around the same time as everything else, so it's only natural. And, of course, there's Sakura, which is... What was my point on that again? Cassie?
Oh, the tomato.
Oh, yeah. So, in Yuko's shop, of course, she has the toy ceiling staff, which, of course, had to be from Tomoyo. I mean, it only makes sense. It only makes sense.
In the end of Tsubasa,
Yes.
doesn't the card captor Sakura give the Tsubasa clone Sakura the staff to give to Yuko to give so that it was in the shop?
Yuko has a toy replica.
I thought it was a real thing.
Mm-mm.
She said something about not needing it anymore. The original card captor Sakura.
So, I think that happened, but the point I'm talking about happens earlier in Holic, when they're kind of going through the cleaning, and Yuko's like, or Watsuki's like, this is cute or useless, or whatever the hell disparaging comment he makes about everything that she has in her storehouse. And she's like, it's a toy, it lights up and makes noise.
But we
So-
also know
It could be a
Yuko
tween
likes
for
to
eyes.
only give
Yeah.
Watanuki enough information to appease him at the time. And a lot of what she told him in the early stages of Holland was misinformation and half-truths, so.
True.
She
She
told
is a
him it's
pathological
the
liar.
power. It lights up and makes noise.
But based on how that particular frame and scene was played out and drawn and everything, it, to
And
me,
the fact that
at
it was
least,
actually a staff and not the key.
yeah, it was the bird, and
Right.
it wasn't the star or anything, and
Cloud reading, name Cloud reading.
yes. So there is that that ties it in. Thanks, that's what I was forgetting. This is what happens when I don't write things down. But yes, of course, plow read everything. You know, hey kids, want some magic cards? You know, it's really
And Cloud and Yuko both chose their successors practically same time.
yes. So, and that's where we're at there. Now, I do have a theory, personally, about Gate 7 and how it could tie into all of this. Because one of the really minute details that I picked up was that when Chiquitito went on an errand to pick up a hangover cure, probably, the place where he went has the same logo as the store from Drug and Drop. So even though technically they exist in different cities, the drugstore does deal with the supernatural. So there's no reason to say that it couldn't.
Well, if you learn anything from Tsubasa, it's obviously like even if there's like a slight
Yeah.
change, it's the new universe.
So it's either a new universe, or because they do deal with the supernatural and the paranormal, that it's maybe some kind of fixed point in the universe.
Like
Or
you
it
go
could
shop.
be that the drugstores like Yuko shop.
Exactly.
It
That's
exists in its own dimension, so to speak.
that was exactly my thought about it. Was that it's like you go shop.
You will find it.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it does not
And
exist.
they've kind of hinted at that in legal drugs early stages a little bit.
Exactly.
It's kind of thinly veiled, but like a friend of mine recommended it because, I mean, this was Wanuki after he took over the shop. And so a friend's like, yo, if you're a Clamp fan, read this. I'm like, why? He's like, just trust me on this. So I started reading it, and you know, it does seem to imply that it's, I wouldn't say its universe because it technically seems to overlap with Holic and Tsubasa, but it does seem to be like Yuko Shop. It's its own dimensional existence, and like you said, if you need to find it, you will. Otherwise, it just looks like nothing or a random, unattractive building.
Exactly.
It's a lighthouse.
Right. That's
So many
the phrase I was
lighthouses.
looking for. Been a long week.
Yes, this is true. It's the drugstore is literally run by an ex-angel and so on and so forth. Because fun fact from Drug and Drop and Wish, so Kakai and Saiga used to be in heaven.
They're actually the two, I guess, senpais in Wish, but they're just going under different names for their point in history.
True story. True story.
Well, that made me feel that you senpai now deal drugs.
They're not my senpai. Kaku's my senpai.
Yes. Okay. So that's me and my details. Do you have any questions? Yeah, so far. Are you all lost and confused like the rest of us?
Yeah, that's how
Hey.
it is.
Yeah, that seems to be a continuous
Okay, so
trend.
you're saying that the replica of Captain Sakura's staff, the bird one,
Mhm.
that's Moyo made that and gave that to Yuko?
So perhaps
Okay.
that is one of my theories.
Okay.
So we'll move on to the theory portion of the panel. Because who doesn't like a good conspiracy theory? I know I love conspiracy theories. That's just me.
Music's near 51.
So I guess we'll start with Tomoyo. So.
Which one?
Exactly. Exactly. So, what if Tomoyo, with this toy wand, went to Yuko and made a wish that she wanted to protect Sakura like forever, and that just translated into all of the Sakuras everywhere, which is why she can talk to all the other Tomoyos, every universe, because clearly they've got a thing going on for something.
Well, it's not that far-fetched. Yuko does tend to collect things of power or significance.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when Fi offered up the staff, she took instead the seal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that far-fetched an idea to imagine, even if it's just a toy, the amount of emotional value, like Watanuki's watch,
Exactly. And what else would be more important to Tomoyo?
than protecting Sakura.
Yeah, and therefore the replica of her sealing wand.
And who else would that even be important to?
Right, that wouldn't really be important to anyone but Tomoyo.
Exactly.
And who would have the means to even make a replica of it? But of course, Tomoyo and her family's toy company. So that's that. And in Cardcaptor, Tomoyo, she kind of just openly accepts the fact that, hey, my best friend's a magical girl, isn't this awesome?
And makes outfits for and runs with the whole idea with the knife and the.
But we never have any indication that she can actually dream see or otherwise have any kind of magical powers. She never gives any indication of that.
But she does already have those outfits ready before Sakura even gets the book.
Yeah, it's like episode 2 or 3 and she's already got a van full of costumes. It's like she just needed an excuse.
Even in manga, it's like the second she reveals that she is the card captor, she's like, I've got some awesome outfits for
Yeah,
you. Just
so there's something going on there.
Anxious like possible.
She wanted to dress up her friend in bunches of cool costumes, but she never had an excuse to make her friend go along with it.
I showed a costume right
That's
here.
another possibility for the wish instead of just why not give her a grand adventure? I mean,
Theory, Tomoyo is a giant pervert.
well, that's not much of a theory. So, the next thing is.
There's a lot of creepy stuff in Cardcaptor if we start nitpicking.
There's a lot of creepy stuff and everything from Clamp. I mean,
That's
let's
very true.
be real here.
If we start nitpicking stuff like knowing her friend's exact size, we're gonna get to some very disturbing aspects of their writing.
Oh, I
Let's not
forgot
go
the
there.
googly eyes. I was gonna buy googly eyes and give one to everyone because who doesn't need an extra eye in Clamp? Anyways, so the next point I had was, and we can open this up to discussion, but in Tsubasa, all the characters from the other series show up at some point, even though it's not their exact universe, they're there, they're living happily ever after, like Sorata and Arashi from X, who are clearly not dead and still very much in love with each other. But who we don't see ever? Kotori and Hakuto. Why aren't the sisters getting any love? I mean, can we just think about that for a moment?
Maybe in the new one.
One possible theory, and this is taking the really lazy route that I doubt is the excuse, it could just be that when you look at how rushed and convoluted the last little leg of Tsubasa gets, like that whole loop thing, it could just be that they had a plan for that particular universe, and whether it be deadlines or just no way to initially implement it, and then they ran out of time and decided to run with that, and then that could be the reason for the new Tsubasa is to incorporate some of the worlds they didn't get to use in Reservoir Chronicles.
Perhaps, but even when you look through the manga, there's a lot of just filler frames where they're non-speaking background parts, they're just filling out a crowd, and there's ones where it's picked out, it's like, oh, there's the Magic Knights. That's great that they're there. Or there's Suki, or there's Kabato, and they're just, you know, NPCs that don't say anything. But you never see Kotori or Hakuto. It's just filling in the background. And you have to wonder, like, why? And I think about this, it keeps me up at night.
Well, I mean, there could be some form of regret revolving around that particular series. I mean, you have raised an interesting question.
So you're saying Clamp regrets killing them off so they can't bring them back?
Possibly, I mean, it could just be.
They better find a way because Hakuto is needing some love.
Well, look at it this way. I mean, in Holic, you know, every time somebody dies, they're never really dead. So, but these two seem to be the exception. So the bigger question now becomes no longer why are they not in Tsubasa? It becomes why are they the only ones to stay dead?
Or have they stayed dead? I have a theory about that one too. But anyway, so my theory about Kotori perhaps is that because X is such a spiritually based series, is that she was killed not only on a physical level, but maybe that, you know, just her soul was absolutely destroyed too, so she can't find, she's just no more, and it's just wiped her out of existence. And as for Hakuto, personally, my headcanon that I like to believe is that she actually became Yuko. So, chew on that.
Possibility given, you know, Yuko does, like, let's compare her to Wong Reed for a moment. Yuko has the red eyes. She always seems to have this unnatural air about her, whereas Wong still looks like a normal person and has this tremendous magical power, but at the same time, either he's got insanely better control or there's something more to Yuko, which would fit your theory.
There's always something more.
Granted.
And you know, we don't know much about Yuko's past before Watanuki. We know very, very minimal, bare bones.
Which
And
is direct contrast to we know a good deal about Wong Reed from